Hello friends, my name is Shubham Singh Kushwa and welcome to a tutorial Introduction to Git. Before we get along, I would like to tell you that in this tutorial I have assumed that you have worked with at least one of the versioning systems or tool like SVN or CVS. So before we understand Git, let's discuss about how the SVN or some other system works. So basically SVN is a centralized repository system. So it is a centralized system and we have a local machine and a remote server, and then we set up our workspace in our local machine, and then we connect to our SVN repository via some URLs and our credentials, and then we perform these transactions, commits or checkout, whatever we want to perform depends on our choice. So this is how we work. But when it comes to Git, actually Git does not follow the centralized system architecture. Git follows the distributed system architecture. It overall looks the same with a slight difference, so we'll have a look at it now. So we have a local machine as we have in SVN as well, in the remote server, and then we have a workspace directory which contains our projects, our files, code files, text files, HTML files, Java files, whichever language we do. And then we have a central repository, let's say GitHub, and then we perform push operations to put our code to the central repository, the fetch operations to take the code from the central repository to the workspace. Yeah, so this is how. But how Git is different is that is additional thing in Git, the local Git repository. As I've already mentioned, that the Git works on the distributed system architecture. That means Git share a local repository with every user. So every machine is installed with a local repository, and all these transactions that the user performs, he performs with this local repository. So all the commits, all the checkouts he performs with the local repository. And once user has decided, okay, I'm done with my development, now I would like to share my code with the other colleagues or the other team members, then he performs the push operation to put his code to the central repository where every people who has access to this repository can access it. Or if a person wants to fetch the code, then he performs the fetch operation, and the fetch operation picks up the code from the central repository and then put it into the local repository, and then he can use it and perform and manipulate the code whatever he wants to perform. So we have seen that Git is totally works on the distributed system architecture, and that's the main difference, and that is why everyone is so much curious about Git and trying to understand Git. Initially it looks complex, but it's not as complex as it looks. We'll discuss and see how each operation are being performed and how do we install and work with egit in the subsequent tutorial. Thanks for watching the tutorial. See you in the next tutorial.